This episode is made possible by New Masters Academy, the world's absolute #1 online art school on the entire planet. Click the link down below for a free 7-day trial. Thank you, New Masters Academy. I am deep in the annals of your mind. I am deep in the annals of your... Hey everybody, welcome back to the Honey and Absinthe After Hours podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Vincent, a background designer for the Hollywood animation industry.
And I'm Janet, the ex-Disney artist turned independent creator, and this is a podcast about all things art, business, and whatever we feel like.
Today we're going to talk about Netflix tells its woke staff to quit if they're offended with the content they are making.
But before we get into it, make sure to like, subscribe, jingle, touch all our bells and buttons. Please and thank you.
All our bells and buttons. How do they look today?
You look great.
They look really, really good today. I like your face. You washed your face. I like what you did to your hair.
Brush your hair.
Brush your hair. Brush your teeth. Aha.
Take care. Brush your hair.
Hey, are you excited for Top Gun? I've been like raving and ranting and raving to Jan how excited I am to see Top Gun. I'm really excited.
I'm pretty excited too.
I'm probably gonna edit this out. I don't know, but I just wanted to say
Okay.
maybe I won't edit this out. I don't know, but I don't know. I'm pretty excited for that Top Gun movie, man. Okay, so lots of things happening in the world yet again, not only in the Hollywood sphere, but also in the social media sphere. In recent news, Elon Musk is halting his deal of Twitter.
Yes.
Who knows for what? What reason? We've heard all sorts of reasons why. But what are the reasons why?
Because he suspects the amount of bots that they said are on their platform may not be what they said is actually on their platform.
And it reminds me of the time where we talked about last week where Netflix's investors were pretty annoyed that they were inflating numbers.
Netflix, yeah.
Yeah. So it seems as though there's a lot of fakery.
Going
a lot of fakery going on in the social media, internet sphere.
Yes.
A lot of fakery going on.
And these companies.
It's no wonder people want like whatever they perceive as genuinity or genuine creators or whatever, because everything's so fake.
Yes.
And everyone's tired of the WWE-ness of life, whether it's politics or the internet.
Yes. So Netflix, it came out that they released, what do they call it, a memo, a blog article. They released this thing that I would consider a blog article on their jobs website, actually, where they kind of list out a bunch of things they're expecting from their employees. It's called, actually, let me read what it's called.
Janet, with the empirical data, Chan, today.
It's called Netflix Culture, Seeking Excellence. And a lot of, I'm sure if you like watching a lot of cultural content like this, you've probably already heard about it. And the way I heard about it seemed very much like, oh, Netflix is going to fire everyone. They're getting rid of woke content. Oh my God, we all need to cheer and clap. And then I went and tried to find it. So the first thing I found were other news outlets articles about this, where they cut and paste very selective things from this blog post.
Everyone was doing this. I saw Variety's article was doing this as well. Like,
yes,
they thought that this part specifically was the most newsworthy.
Right, yeah. So like I said before, I don't really like cherry picking certain things, especially like I don't like when a news outlet like quotes a sentence, puts their opinion in the middle of that sentence, and quotes another sentence, because they could be from completely two different points and out of context. So it makes you think the Netflix blog post was about something that it totally wasn't about. So that's what a lot of these articles were doing.
Janet, I need the full context.
Yes.
Chan.
Yes. I was like, I feel like, because I'm not gonna lie, this got me really excited. This news that Netflix tells their woke staff to like hit the road if you don't want to, like, I don't know, just make content. And so I was like, oh boy, let me find this actual blog article, and I find it, and it's like, it's really long, and I read the whole thing. It's paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs long. It starts.
How many of you could say you actually read the whole thing?
Like, none of you. Probably.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
They were just given notes from a intern, probably something like that.
Yes, or they were quoting like a variety article, so they were just assuming that's what it was about. But first of all, I can understand why they were cherry picking now that I have learned that it's like pages and pages long. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess you're not gonna, it's not like a letter, it's not like 3 or 4 paragraphs, it's pages long. So I understand, but it is a little bit out of context. So it starts with like we are Hollywood. We make people feel. It's that Nicole Kidman commercial in front of the AMC.
Every AMC thing.
Yeah.
We come together and watch the magic of the big screen here at AMC theaters.
Yes. Yes. Where
I'm rooting for the day where they eliminate that completely, and apparently they cut it half. Remember, there was a period they cut it half short, and I thought it was like, oh, thank God, because soon that means that like it'll disappear someday. And some people complain that like that little preamble right before your movie gave them some sort of comfort or whatever, so they made them. There was a demand to make them play the entire thing all over again. And that's why even till this day, when you go to AMC, you still hear Nicole Kidman with the CG face going, AMC theaters.
We make movies better.
We make movies better.
It's just like, oh my God, can I play the movie?
Just play the movie. God.
But yes, it's the like, we laugh, we cry, we make people like feel things. Basically, like, it's a company core values all hands meeting to get people pumped up. So first, I'm going to, but at the same time, there's a very, very specific section of this blog post that, yes, technically this is what they're saying. Netflix does tell woke staff to quit if they're offended, and I'm going to read that section. But
we encourage you, so that you know the full context, to read all of it yourself. Yes,
it's almost like a job.
I mean, if you're gonna apply to Netflix, or if that's where you want to work someday, probably makes sense for you to read it.
It does make sense for someone who wants to work in animation.
And maybe, I don't know, it would make you super excited to work, or maybe you'd be like, you know what, I don't know.
I don't know about this.
Yeah.
So in the section titled Artistic Expression, entertaining the world is an amazing opportunity and also a challenge because viewers have very different tastes and points of view. So we offer a wide variety of TV shows and movies, some of which can be provocative. To help members make informed choices about what to watch, we offer ratings, content warnings, and easy-to-use parental controls. Not everyone will like or agree with everything on our service. While every title is different, we approach them based on the same set of principles. We support the artistic expression of the creators we choose to work with. We program for a diversity of audiences and tastes, and we let viewers decide what's appropriate for them versus having Netflix censor specific artists or voices. As employees, we support the principle that Netflix offers a diversity of stories, even if we find some titles counter to our own personal values. Depending on your role, you may need to work on titles you perceive to be harmful. If you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you. So that's specifically what everyone was quoting from. But so technically, yes, they're saying if you're woke and you don't like that we host content like Dave Chappelle's comedy special, then you should quit. But in the same vein, what they're specifically talking about is artistic expression in this paragraph. They're talking about they're going to support their creators no matter what. So they're going to support the director and creator of Cuties, and they're going to support Dave Chappelle. Because
you really mean breadth, huh?
Yeah, like we offer something for everyone if you don't want to work on these shows, then like your specific show that you were given or whatever, then you don't want to work here. Go. It's fine. But in the bigger context of this entire article, Netflix has always been known as a very cutthroat environment where their hiring and firing practices are very different in Hollywood. I would describe the way most companies operate in Hollywood is that they're very cowardly when it comes to firing people. They really don't want to fire you, actually. So I think a lot of people, I was this way when I first got hired. I was very eager to do a good job, but scared to death that if I fucked up even a little bit, they would fire me right away and chew me out or whatever. It's all in your imagination, though. They expect this from green people. That's why they like to hire someone straight out of school, mostly because they can pay you a lot less, but also they know that you don't know anything about how things are, so they can treat you however they want, and you'll
think, oh, this is how it's supposed to
be. Yeah, they can say jump, and you go, how high? Whereas what in reality, they're scared to death of conflict and confrontation, so they have a hard time firing you. They even have a hard time telling you when your show is ending, because they're scared it's going to freak you out, which, I mean, I think arguably maybe you should know when your show is ending earlier rather than later, because you're basically telling someone you're not going to have a job in like a few months, rather than you're not going to have a job in like 2 weeks. Good luck. I'd rather,
at least you have a fighting chance.
Yeah, at least you have like okay, I'll dust off my resume, my portfolio, start reaching out to some people. It's going to take a while. But no, they're like, they're too cowardly, so they'll wait till the last minute. A lot of the times. And that also includes like if you really aren't doing a good job, you tend to fail upwards in Hollywood. You don't get fired. You just get placed on something else, usually, that's more suited to your lackadaisical nature. But Netflix being, like, new comparatively to all these, like, MGM, Paramount, Disney, like, Netflix is newer. They are more like a startup tech company.
They're willing to risk.
Yes.
A little bit more than Paramount or Columbia.
They have a different company culture where, like, they expect you to be excellent and they expect you to be a high performer without needing to be asked to be. Like, there's a difference between an employee that, like, only does the job they were told to. So, like, if someone's like...
They want their projects to be like what Jodorowsky thought would be like, what is it, his dream team, right?
Yes.
Like, you want to be like, that's the sort of the ethos. That's what the Kool-Aid they're giving you. Like, oh, they want you to feel like you are a part of like this elite crew of designers or filmmakers, writers, storytellers, right?
They even have a section of this blog post where they talk about, like, we're not family, we're a dream team, we're a dream team sports team. Almost every single company I've ever worked for likes to do this thing where they try to motivate you by calling you family in the all hands meetings. We're family. Let's all rah work together and, like, support each other. We love you. Which, no, work is work. Your coworkers are your coworkers. They're not your fucking family, okay? Stop telling me that.
Do sports teams consider themselves family? I don't really think so. They're just like...
I don't think so either. So Netflix was like, they're trying actively to be different from all the other companies that say that. And they're like, we're not family. We are like, we're sports. we're like the dream team. And the whole vibe gives me the vibe of, like, if you've ever watched Wolf of Wall Street, when Leonardo DiCaprio gives his team the pep talk, like the beginning of every week before they're about to sell a bunch of stocks.
What does he do? Reenact it. Try it.
He does what his boss once did to him, where he pumps them up. He goes like, ah, like he, and then. So and then like the entire
they get pumped.
Yeah, they get pumped.
Ah! Ah!
They do the chant. He has like a line during the movie where he's like, if you can't like put your all into your work, then like get the fuck out of here.
I want to say something.
Yeah.
This is pretty fucking sick.
What is?
that Netflix is pulling this shit right now.
Oh.
We're fucking like Netflix, bitch. Like we do everything. We cater to everyone. We don't like to get the piss off.
Yeah.
As a
like,
British.
We're excellent.
Yeah.
You work with excellent
and it
people.
reminds me of like you watch The Player. Robert Altman, I think it's Altman's Player. Like I thought us Hollywood people were supposed to be like that. Like I thought the whole reason for being here was because we're not good people, and we like to make these ridiculous fantasies. We're not the best. We're I hope you are a great family person, but I'm sure you have a dark side because you're an artist. You're an artist, baby. And like, how could we dream up these things if we didn't have a dark side, man?
Yeah, without being a little crazy in the mind, a little fucked up.
Just a little bit.
Like, I don't think I've ever met a creative person that isn't a little bit like strange. Not right in the mind. It takes a certain personality to want to sit all day in a cubicle drawing cartoons as an adult. Like
some people would call that insane.
Yes, in the dark. And this brings me joy somehow.
I thought Hollywood people were like the kind of people where like you don't tell like a fucking producer what to do, man. You know what I mean? You don't like tell suppose like in what I thought in my mind when I was like growing up, I thought you couldn't tell someone like Bob Chapek, someone who's supposed to be like the figurehead right now of that big ass studio. You can't tell him what to do, but like somehow the employees at Disney somehow made him, I don't know, bend the knee, because this whole thing, I feel like the whole catalyst of this whole thing that Netflix is doing, and I feel like all the other studios are like looking over their shoulder going like, whoa, what's anybody gonna do? Is like, is Chapek going like, hey, let's try not getting involved with politics. And then certain employees at Disney, while being employed at Disney, complain about what Chapek said. Who's ultimately like the boss of their boss of their boss of their boss, and then just disaster strikes.
Yeah, leading to like protests and walkouts and the entire news media covering it and making Disney look bad.
And then now they're facing legal action in Florida with the theme parks.
Yeah, like they're getting repercussions, all this stuff. So I think Netflix. I mean, this started way before that. Like, I feel like Netflix had their own little similar debacle when they put out Dave Chappelle's comedy special.
Right, and there was walkouts for that too. That's right.
And even before that, like Cuties. But the difference between Cuties and the Dave Chappelle thing is like Cuties is general public reaction and criticism towards this movie that they didn't like. That's different. Like, you're always gonna get like critics of anything. It's a little bit special because everyone was piling on, but like as a company you can't control your critics. The Dave Chappelle thing was employees inside the company causing a stir and being very vocal about not wanting to work at a company where they would host, in their words, not mine, someone as transphobic as Dave Chappelle. So, I think this is a response to that in a way where this has already happened to Netflix, and they didn't like that. I'm sure they didn't like that. Knowing that like they fire you, no problem. They're willing to cut you if you're not excellent. Get out of here. They already have this company culture. I think to them it looks really bad to have employees do the thing where they're like rising up against it. Like they're like, we deal with enough already. We deal with the critics of cuties and all this stuff. The one thing we can have control over is whether or not we hire these people who are giving us more problems.
Because top priority for Netflix is to keep building that catalog.
Yes.
So what I think is really fascinating, and why I think this is just crazy. I'm dumbfounded by this move as the people who gave that letter to Disney a few weeks back, is because this is the first studio that openly put their foot forward and was like, okay, no more games now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like I was expecting Disney. Of all studios, you hear legends when we were kids about like, you know, Disney being the Netflix of yore, you know, being the cutthroat company that like wasn't afraid to just like fuck you over if you were causing problems or whatever. But like to watch ultimately like seeing the employees have so much control, that much control over what the higher ups do is like, I'd assume a good company would rein in their employees, and I never saw that with Disney. Maybe they did it in the low, in the private. Maybe they did, but like this is pretty crazy. That like, what do you think other studios are thinking now that Netflix did this publicly and openly, that they're not going to tolerate any sort of, I don't know, lip service from anyone within the company as they're giving them a paycheck every month?
I have been listening to Beyond Good and Evil by Friedrich Nietzsche. If you do not already have an Audible trial subscription, head over to I have been listening to Beyond Good and Evil by Friedrich Nietzsche. It's helped shape my view of the world recently. If you would like to get your philosophy on, head over to audibletrial.com/the Honey and Absinthe podcast to get your free audiobook. That's audibletrial.com/the Honey and Absinthe podcast. I think companies are waiting and seeing who does it first, and they want to see the positive effects of it first. So Netflix is the first to say it. We heard through the grapevine, through rumors, that Disney is also planning on this similar shift, but it has yet to happen yet.
Right.
Even though the rumors that it was happening, that Disney might be shifting more towards the center and not being okay with people in their company being combative with fans and the general population. Like Disney does have like a leaking problem. Like everyone seems to just leak everything there.
It's mutiny all over the place if you're like the captain of the ship.
On all sides.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of rumored that this was happening, that they wanted to like get rid of any kind of like we're here to make content, like stop with this like political activism stuff. But we've yet to see it. You know, like, so after that happened, Disney put out that Bob Chapek was like, oh, we want to stay politically neutral, and then went back on his word. And at the time when I heard all that happen, I was a little confused of why Bob Chapek did that.
Just go back on what he was saying, because it seemed like he was so strong about it.
Yeah, I was very confused. And we were listening to Doomcock, and he was explaining that he has an insider source that was saying like Bob Chapek does really believe in neutrality and staying out of politics with the content especially, but he had to go back on it because he wasn't getting support from the shareholders. And it was hard for me to buy that at the time. I was like, no way, like there must be something bigger than that.
And you took it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I took it. I was like, I don't know. He must have went back for some other reason. I don't know. And then this whole Twitter stuff happened, and you start noticing entire media outlets shitting on Elon Musk buying Twitter, and then it all seems very planned, because like, how is it that on the same day everyone has the exact same narrative to write about Elon Musk, and it's always negative. It's like the world is ending because Elon Musk is buying Twitter.
But that's what they said about Trump.
Right, but I was just like, that's strange, until I realized who Elon was competing with in the buyout of of Twitter. It was Vanguard. It was companies like Vanguard and BlackRock, which tend to be woke companies.
What are these companies?
They're really big financial investment firms, basically. BlackRock does like real estate, and Vanguard does investment stuff. Yeah.
Finance shocks.
Financial stuff, yeah. And that, again, I didn't think much of it. It didn't mean anything to me. It just means like that companies like Vanguard and BlackRock are these like big, almost like monolithic companies that want to control the world through manipulating people's minds.
Why is
very Ozymandias here?
No, actually, that's creepy. Why hasn't like the normal average person heard of these two companies before?
Most people who are into finance, like investing in stocks and stuff like that, have heard of Vanguard. They're like one of the biggest investment firms out there. The guild, especially if you work at Disney, your 401k is with Vanguard.
Control of everyone's payroll.
Yeah, basically.
Jesus Christ, that's terrifying.
So
the people in charge of your payroll are like in charge of the world.
Yes,
that's creepy.
Or they're trying to with all that money.
They're like Ozymandias.
Yes. They're trying to. So the reason why they have such big shares of Twitter is because they understand the power that Twitter has in defining culture and perception. So like they understand if like a lot of people on if they can control what is trending on Twitter, what people are talking about, what is the popular side to be on, they kind of control people in a lot of ways. If they can get you to believe certain things, then like if you believe it, what does the facts matter? So I didn't think much of it at the time. Like, okay, so Elon Musk is this one big rich millionaire who is like, in a weird way, kind of the underdog here, fighting against these establishment companies that basically own everything in the world. Like, you'd be shocked to learn what things Vanguard and BlackRock have their little fingers into.
Tendrils.
So I didn't think much of it until I saw. I don't remember how I found out Disney is mostly owned also by companies like Vanguard. Again, it didn't cross my mind because I know our 401k is with Vanguard. I didn't realize that like it's because Vanguard also owns like big shares of the company.
And what interest is it of these companies to keep the woke status quo? Like, why are they so interested?
People.
Oh, okay.
So like I don't want to get too deep into this.
Okay. I'm sorry. I wanted to get deep, but it's okay.
I mean, like,
just for fun.
I'm going to talk about Ukraine. Yes.
Okay.
Whether you agree with it or not, there are a lot of companies and people that get rich off of war. And knowing that, don't you think there are certain companies the ones who do get rich off of war, would want to get politicians under their control and public perception under their control to get you to think that maybe we should go to war? Because then they'll get fucking rich. They'll make billions off of whatever. The same thing could be said on the other side too. So like I don't really want to get into it because I don't know honestly that much about it. I just am very anti-war. That's all I know about it. Like, people dying, not a good thing. Drones and bombs and all that, not a good thing. So that's why I think companies like Vanguard have huge interests in companies like Twitter and Disney. So when I realized that, I then put two and two together and was like, oh, I think Doomhawk was right. I think Bob Chapek really does believe in net neutrality, or not net neutrality.
Just neutrality.
Neutrality.
Political neutrality.
Yes, in their content and business. but I think he really wasn't supported by his shareholders. I think his shareholders told him to apologize, and there's nothing even a CEO of Disney could do when
everyone's got a boss.
Yeah. And so I think Disney is a big ship that takes a long time to turn. And the first time I heard that phrase, it really pissed me off, partly because of the person who told it to me, and what they were referring to. But I think it's true, but it's a little bit more complicated than I think there's a lot of bureaucracy in order to get Disney to do what Netflix just did. So, but I think everyone is paying attention, and I think if it will make them money in the long run, I think capitalism will always win. And okay, if this is what the people want, people are cheering for it, and the consequence is a lot artists are gonna hate us, then whatever, fuck you artists,
go find somewhere else to work. Or make something of yourself or of your own, but if you're gonna give us problems, that's not why you're here.
So Netflix is basically saying in this memo about company culture, it's basically just core value shit. And so they're basically saying, we are an excellent company, we're here to make excellent content, so do a good job or get fucked.
Say it again.
Do a good job or get fucked.
All right. I'm sure all of you who are studying to be an animation person or to work in Hollywood can agree with that sentiment. Because if you don't, at least you know. What are you doing? What are you doing?
In a weird way, I'm like you, I feel very pumped up by this message, because that's why I got into
the industry.
Yeah, this is actually what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to work and be excellent and work with excellent people, and we're very competitive, but we're all about making this amazing
cool
thing.
Shit.
Yeah. Turns out it's not like that. So I'll see it when I'll believe it when I see it. Because
I don't think Netflix has done anything awesome in a while.
Yes. And it's one thing to have a Leo DiCaprio thing where you're rah, pumping up
all
the
hands
team.
meeting,
yeah. It's another thing to actually go through with what you just said. Of if you don't want to support this stuff, whatever. Oh, another thing about the memo that I thought was really interesting. They had a paragraph about if you do have disagreements with the content for whatever reason, or just anything, really, you should bring it up. You should bring it up in person, and bring it up in writing, so an email your captain, as they would call it. Because they want to have a civil discussion, very openly, get all it was very this is very good therapy way of handling things.
Therapy speak?
Yes, almost. It's all these people know. It's all these people have been to therapy. They want everything out in the open, so they'll all have a conversation about how to deal with this conflict. And then they'll come to an agreement, the captain will, because he's or she is the boss. The boss is gonna make a decision on how to deal with it, and if you are a good employee, you will go along with what the boss said, because they're the boss.
They're the boss, right? Okay.
If you can't do that, then also get the fuck out. And I was interesting thing to very specifically write about, because if you look at the Disney thing, what happened with Disney was the so-called Don't Say Gay bill, whatever. An employee made a big stink about it publicly online. So they didn't internally bring it up. They didn't write a memo, write an email to upper management and tell them they're whatever. They brought it up publicly. It eventually went viral on Twitter, and a lot of other people being what's it called when you are inspired to do the same thing? But there's a word for it. But they were like, I support this person and their
solidarity.
I mean, it's emboldened.
Oh, okay.
They were emboldened to, because they're cowards. They were emboldened to be like, oh, we can't let this person just be the only one who speak out about this very thing that like makes us all look very good. So we're gonna like support her, and then like it kind of caused a stir enough for major media outlets to talk about like, oh, Disney employees are making a big deal about this "don't say gay" thing, and it was like politically good for them to report on it that way. So they staged a walkout. It became this big thing, and like we said, now Disney is facing a lot of public backlash on like every side for doing all this stuff. I think Netflix was paying attention this whole time, and I think Netflix was like, we don't want that to happen to us. That almost already happened to us.
That almost happened to them with Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Right.
So they were like, we didn't have a protocol.
Let's make it perfectly crystal fucking clear.
Yeah, what will happen if you do that?
If you're here, shut the fuck up.
Or
get fucked.
Yeah. And we're gonna fire you if you do that, because this is company policy, is basically what they're saying. Like, we didn't have a protocol on how to deal with this during the Dave Chappelle thing, but we just witnessed, like, the worst thing happening to a company that no one ever thought could ever fall. So, let's learn from their mistakes and create a protocol of exactly what you should do. If you have a problem, come to us. Don't go to the internet.
I know it's really tempting with the views and the donations and the super chats.
Yeah. But don't do that.
Don't do that.
Come to us so we can squash you and fire you before you can do anything.
Yes. So and no one's going to believe you after.
Yeah, so that's what that is. So I think this is Netflix being like, I'm a tough guy, beating their chest, and like making people think they're stronger than they are. And I don't know if they're actually going to follow through with this. I don't know if they're laying all their woke employees off or anyone off. Like, it just seems like they are just trying to make it at this point. They're just trying to stay alive. They're trying not to have their stocks dip even further. So I think this is like a soft firing. This is like we're not gonna fire you. You quit. You quit first if you have a problem. Then, like, if all the people who quit, let's say people quit because of this, which I doubt. Again, everyone's cowards.
And then it's like, okay, everyone on board is gonna shut the fuck up, right? And then everyone's gonna be like, okay. But then if you don't shut the fuck up, well, then they're probably just going to oust you.
Yeah. Like, well, you understood that this was company policy, so
punted
bye-bye.
You like Baxter and Anchorman, man.
So they are, in my opinion, this is all just a response to their company not doing well. So like I said, firings are coming. Layoffs are coming.
And Sun Tzu quote, like that, right?
Yes.
What is it? Appear strong when you are weak.
Yes.
Weak when you were strong, something like that.
Yes.
And like this sort of very, in my eyes, fits that completely, because like there's no evidence to assume that anyone has faith in all of the stuff that they're touting in their email, because like their investors don't.
Right.
Why should we
believe
them? But this is a very like, man, if you said what you said, if you did what you said you did, that'd be pretty dope. But we all know that takes time. So we'll see.
And balls.
Yeah.
Like, I know.
Balls of steel. But at this point, Netflix, like you said, like what do they have to lose? They were already the, the underdog, startup thing from the get-go. So they might as well. This feels like a Hail Mary thing.
Yeah.
This feels like we're going down with the ship, but we're going to be strong.
Well, yeah, we'll try our best to survive.
Right.
We'll kick. You're you're sinking the ship faster, and then they like just fucking.
And I think that's why we get mad with Disney the most, because it's almost like, what are you doing? What do you do? Something, do something. But then they're like, no, it's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
I think we looked very apocryphal
Oh, yeah.
I look like...
You heard it here from us first, folks.
Elizabeth, once again.
That's right.
Like,
Janet, controller of the universe, Jan.
Like, I didn't know anything. Like I said in the other podcast about Netflix laying people off. I didn't know anything, okay? If they actually... It seems like that... I don't know why. When any of our videos get more views than normal, a lot of people get happy. I get very anxious, so I don't like looking at it. I don't even like looking at the numbers. It makes me sweaty. I assume it looked like I knew something that I shouldn't have. But I honestly did not know anything. I was just making predictions.
I don't think it's necessary to preface it or try to frame it like that. Just keep them guessing, man. Just keep them guessing.
But again, so recently we got a guild email where they were hosting like some kind of lunch and learn, like a workshop during lunch or something, where they're hosting certain people who are in the guild to talk and teach about certain things. Sometimes it's like, I don't know, painting, plein air painting, or something like that. But this was titled something like how to land your next gig, and it was aimed at people who just might be getting laid off, or they're rolling off their show, as they call it, trying to find their next gig. And I was like, would you be offering this workshop if it was not relevant right now? Why are you not telling everyone else about what is going on? Like, no one wants to say this. Like, everyone is hinting that Netflix is not doing well, that streaming is not doing well, that Hollywood is not doing well, but no one is talking about the layoffs. No one is talking about, like, how bad is it? I think because they don't want... I don't know what it is. They don't want people to know, or for some reason, but, like, to me, it is very obvious.
A lot of people have pride in the industry, and they don't want people to know that... You know, I think all of our dreams were to be a part of something like, I don't know, How to Train Your Dragon or something. And like I don't know, people who did have like a good few years here must have had something that they're like really proud of, and to see it all come undone with all this controversy.
Publicly.
I'm sure lots of pride involved here, lots of a whole decade of telling people that you are the best, and you are so proud that you work for whatever studio. And now everything is falling apart. And now when you say you work for Netflix, people think that you are a groomer. And now when you say you work for Disney, people are going to think you're a groomer. Like, I'm not saying that you are, but there's that possibility, right? That never existed before. That makes you just a little bit hesitant to share. To share about like how proud you are to work at this industry.
Yeah. Or at the very least, like, you don't want people to know that like you might be out of a job, which I think there's a certain amount of pride that's like okay, that's, you want to be happy and proud to do what you want to do, but like the level to which it got with the celebritism and all of that got fucking insane, and like people get exactly what they deserve right now. Exactly what they deserve. This reminds me of the Elizabeth Olsen quote that she was I didn't read the article, so maybe it's out of context, but she was being interviewed doing the media rounds for I think Doctor Strange, and she was quoted as saying she's sick and tired of people saying putting down Marvel movies as if they're like lesser art, because like saying like, oh, they're just comic book movies, something like that, because it devalues, or it basically hurts the feelings of all the hundreds of people that worked hard on this movie. And I was like, dude, you work on a Marvel movie. I'm sorry, but like, as a creative person that has worked in the industry, sometimes it's just a job.
It's a job.
Like, I don't think the hundreds of people that worked on the movie don't know what they're fucking working on. Like, when you know you're working on a preschool show, it's a fucking preschool show. You're not making like the I don't know, a Picasso. Like, you're not making a masterpiece work of art here. You know this. You know that you're doing a job to pay the bills.
You're not making Demon Slayer, man.
Yeah, and so, like, if you're like a film buff, who also works in the industry, and you're working on a Marvel, you know it's just a Marvel movie. You know it's no fucking Kubrick movie, okay?
It's not Amour. It's not Bicycle
You know
Thieves.
you're not winning any kind of Oscar here, okay? Like, so when she was saying that, I was like, okay, speak for yourself and your own goddamn ego. I was just so annoyed. I was like, it's just a fucking job. Oh my god, the pretension. I was just like, oh my, really? You're not, like, when we say it's just a comic book movie, it is just a comic book movie, and I guarantee you, many of the people that worked on that fucking comic book movie agree. Okay?
Yeah, like, they're going in Thanksgiving going like, yeah, I worked on that comic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what? What is this?
What is this pretending like it's ours? Yeah, that pissed me off. But, I think... I actually have the opposite view of this whole, like, pride thing. I believe, because you have to be unapologetic about getting money and selling yourself and all that stuff. You told me this story where you went in to get a haircut or to work or something at a cafe here in Prescott, and you witnessed this group of older gentlemen all having, like, their afternoon... morning coffee or something.
They look like honchos, man. They look like very, very well-to-do ranchers. I tell you what, the big hats, well, crispy shirts and stuff, man. Yeah, what about? I don't know what are you getting at?
One guy was very unapologetically go like, man, I'm unemployed. I need work. You guys got work?
Yeah. That was the first. Yeah, I was just doing my work, getting the coffee because it's so good and strong here. But then, like, a bunch of. A group of well-to-dos were in front of me, and then like as I love to do. I hope no one from that coffee shop is listening right now, but I love to put on the earbuds, but then not play anything, so I can listen to everybody's conversation, so I can learn about people. It's my favorite. Even when I was sketching in LA, this was my favorite thing to do. Especially when my like iPhone or my iPod ran out of batteries, I would just put on my headphones and just listen. And it was awesome. But as I was listening, I was eavesdropping on this conversation of, I guess, somebody. Not accosting them, but just like politely saying, "Hey guys, how's it going?" And all very cordial, but then very quickly, adamantly, "So hey, yeah, and I'm unemployed. I don't have any work right now. Do you got anything, man? I'll do anything."
Like, that's how you do it. I mean, I'm sure, like, there's a way of doing that that's a little bit abrasive, but that's how you like. You have to be unapologetically like. Look down on me all you want, but, like, I'm going to ask every single person I know this, and I'm probably going to get a job. Because that's how it works. I had to have a teacher tell me that. Because maybe you don't know, I am a very shy human being. And I had a really hard time finding work when I graduated. Not because of my skill necessarily, because I'd always take my work for him to... review or my tests, and he'd be like, "Why didn't you get the job?" I'm like, "I don't know." You asking me? I don't know. And he's the one that taught me the Hollywood No. That he would ask me, when did you send this test back out? And it was like a week ago. And he's like, "You didn't get the job." And I'm like, "How do you know?" And he's like, "That's a Hollywood No. Okay, you didn't get the job. If they didn't call you like right away, then like you didn't get the job." But then he'd also ask me. I would like be very sad and be like, "I couldn't get a job yet again. Or like I was rejected." And then he'd be like, "How many people have you been talking to and asking for work?" And then I was like, "Well, I don't know anyone." And he's like, "You don't know anyone? You know, like, everyone in your class that you graduated with. Did you ask any of them for work?" And I was like, "No, I feel weird, and, like, it's weird to send out emails." And he's like, "That's how it works. You ask everyone you know for a job, and everyone you don't know for, like, you ask literally everyone." And it was hard for me to learn that lesson, but I eventually learned it, and I am very good at it now. But I see a lot of people struggling with that straight out of college, no matter what field, honestly. It doesn't matter what field. Like, this applies to everything. And I see literally everyone from like people who just graduated like community college or whatever, or they all struggle with this very simple thing. But then I empathize because I was the exact same way. In fact, if anything, I'm like worse. I was worse than a lot of people, but like it is what it is. That's what you do. And so I relate more to people who struggle with their pride and their ability to like be like, well, Hollywood is Hollywood, or whatever. Like I'm doing great when actually you're not. But man, get a grip. Get your feet back down in reality. Like stop pretending like you're okay when you're not, because it's okay to say that you're not.
Janet, what is your final thought on the Netflix tells woke staff to quit if they're offended?
Good.
I very much share the same sentiment. Good. Good, man. I kind of want to see more studios adopt this sentiment of like, you know, times are tough, put up or shut up, you know.
I like that Hollywood is becoming more capitalist and showing their true colors again, because it used to be kind of obvious that Hollywood, we're not good people.
Yeah.
Like if anyone ever accuses me of trying to be like a moral human being, and I'm like, no, you don't understand me at all. I am we always say we're like degenerates. I don't know why anybody listens to us.
Janet's done unspeakable things that you will never know, but unspeakable things that will make you go
we are awful human beings, but I also believe that's what defines you as a human being. We're all awful, come on. It's whether you're willing to admit it or not. And I think I always hated that Hollywood pretended like, for all of a sudden, we're so moral. We know so much more than you. Like, no, you guys are degenerates snorting up coke in the office. Like, we see you.
Yeah, man.
We see you. We know
I
what
see
you're
your
doing.
eyes.
Yeah.
I've seen your eyes and you've seen mine. I've seen your eyes and you've seen mine.
Oh my god.
I've seen your eyes and you've seen mine. Janet, what are we recommending? I've seen your eyes and you've seen mine.
We're recommending Come Back as a Country Boy by Blake Shelton.
So I was just thinking about our podcast and I was like, oh yeah, the lyrics to that one ridiculous country song that I was telling you, I was describing it. It was sort of like, this is Spinal Tap, but for country music.
Yes.
Just like, what happens when you take a country song and you dial it to 11? And then that's what you get. Yeah. You get like this bombastic, from the lyrics of the song, from the production of the song, and then the visuals of the song. It is pure 100% like 11. Ridiculous. Almost parody of what a country song is. Janet, describe some of the bombastic moments in that work of art.
Yes, so you need to go and watch the music video. The song is great, but the music video is genius. They took this concept of like a tongue-in-cheek, funny country song and went all the way, even with the music video. So it starts with, apparently in this music video, evolution doesn't exist because it starts with the universe. And then you see like the edge of Earth and time, I assume. And then you see like a dot, a fiery dot in the sky. And then it comes closer and closer, and it's like this fiery asteroid thing that crashes down to Earth onto a campfire. And it bursts into flames, and out comes Blake Shelton. Man. And that is how man is created.
And he gets up from the fire.
Yes.
And the gods throw him a beer.
Yes. From off camera, he catches a beer, like, perfectly. Takes a swig of beer and crushes it.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
And beer just gushes out. And then, like, trucks trucks pull up like behind him, and then he's like, "If I die," and that's how the song starts. And there's like obnoxious amounts of crickets chirping in the background. It's like
we noticed that in the car.
Yeah.
We're like, wait, there are crickets in the production of the song. I mean.
And then he like knocks over a tree into the lake for no good reason.
And then like he gives you sort of, he like kind of like does the rap video shot where he's like
in a shed.
Yeah. Performing in front of the camera really up close, but in the background it's like craftsman shed with all the tools and cool, and look at my tool chest. Yeah. Look at my shed.
And he's wearing like the army camo shirt to convey that like he's just like you. And I was just like, man, I didn't realize this was sung by Blake Shelton when we first talked about it. And then I was like, if you know anything about him, I think he's like a judge on like America's Got Talent or something like that. One of those reality TV shows. And I was like, you think Blake Shelton is like you? Like working in his shed, chopping down trees in his truck, and like,
hey man, you don't know, man.
I know. He's a millionaire celebrity. No. He has a house with a more beautiful view than this. Like, are you kidding me? I feel like I've seen his house on Architectural Digest or something. Like, no, he's not like you. He's extremely, extremely wealthy, pretending to be like you. But yes, this music video is amazing. If you like this episode, make sure to like, jingle all our bells and buttons, check out all these other episodes to binge our entire catalog, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.